can you actually grow a whole new tomato plant that produces fruit from a tomato cutting? Many people, including myself, prune their tomato plants by removing some of the suckers, which will help to manage the tomato plant's growth and fruit production. But instead of just throwing this cutting in the compost pile, can you use it to grow a whole new tomato plant? What I want to find out is, one, is it even possible to produce fruit from a tomato cutting? And two, is it even worth it? So let's put it to the test. I took cuttings from a cherry tomato and a Roma tomato to see if this will work for indeterminate and determinate varieties alike. And the reason why you want to use a sucker is because it's essentially another main stem of the tomato plant. It has a stem, it has leaves, it has fruit sets, and it has even more suckers. Versus using a leaf, nothing's gonna grow from this. It's not going to magically grow a new stem, so it's pretty much useless. I'm going to try 2 suckers from each plant, and for one of them, I'm going to use rooting hormone just to see if I can get these roots to form a little bit faster. And the other one, I'm just gonna place right in the soil, but I have my cell tray prepped, and I'm just dipping this in the rooting hormone, and I'm just gonna stick this right in my cell tray. Same thing for the determinate tomato. I'm just gonna cut off this bottom leaf here so there's more room for those roots to grow. And these ones we're just gonna stick right into the soil. You always wanna try to press it down as deep as you can, so that way as much soil comes in contact with the stem as possible, because all along the stem here, in between all those white hairs, which are called trichomes, new roots are gonna try to form. I'm also going to be trying something with these cell trays to see which method works best. I bet you've already noticed how badly these cuttings are wilting, because it's hot and they don't have any roots, so they don't have the ability to uptake water. So you want to keep these in a shady spot and keep the soil warm and moist, which is going to promote the root production. And now we wait, but luckily for you, it's only a couple seconds. So it's been about 2 weeks now since I took these tomato cuttings, actually 2 weeks to the day, and look at these roots pouring out of every single one of these cuttings. They actually had roots after about 10 days, but I waited a few extra days just for them really to establish, and now it's time to pot them up. And the same day that I planted these cuttings, I also decided to plant some tomato seeds in my 6 cell tray, and this is how big they are now. So I planted them from seed, and this is how far they've grown in about 14 days. So just look at the difference. Look at how established these plants are versus these plants. But now the question is, are these going to produce just as well as these brand new tomato plants? And just to even the odds, we've got some fruit growing on these cuttings already, but my thought is that these are flowers that already existed when I planted them. So in order to help with establishing them and get a real perspective of how much fruit this tomato plant can actually grow, I'm gonna pick all of this off just so we're starting from 0. And we're gonna see, because what I wanna find out is, are these suckers going to form and are they going to produce fruit? That is the real test. So I've got these 4 grow bags prepped, and these are gonna be the tomatoes' homes for the rest of the experiment. So now all I have to do is pot these up and wait for them to grow some fruit, and then we'll be able to conclude and really see if it's worth growing our tomato plants from cuttings, or should we just have planted them from seed all along? And just to prove that this isn't like some trickery where I planted seeds and grew these plants ahead of time, look at the bottom here. Look at that root mass, and you can even see the root here. I'll pull some of this back so you can really see that stem. Look at the stem there, and look at all of the roots that are growing out of the stem. It's amazing what these tomato plants can do to survive. To plant this one, I'm actually gonna break this off, the bottom here, as well as this bottom leaf. so that we can really plant this tomato plant deep and get even more roots off of the stem here. I'm pretty confident that these indeterminate sun gold tomatoes are going to be successful, that they're going to grow on and produce some suckers and some fruit. But on the other hand, we have these determinate Supremo tomatoes. They're determinate tomatoes. They're not supposed to continue to grow. So this is going to be a real challenge to see if these cuttings will actually produce roots themselves. And we've got great root structure on these as well. So unlike the sun gold, I'm going to leave this leaf just to give it as much energy as possible. We do have sucker growing out right here, so I don't know. I'm curious. We've even got some flowers growing there already. So let's get these both potted up too, and all we can do is wait and see what happens. How much are these tomato plants actually going to grow? I mean, put what you think down in the comments. So it's been about 4 weeks, just under 4 weeks since we planted our tomato cuttings in the grow bags. And since that time, I've taken our tomato seedlings and planted them in the ground, and they've already started to grow. But there is such a significant difference between these fresh plants and the tomato cuttings. But one thing I do know for sure is that these are gonna go on to be productive tomato plants, just like the ones I have behind me and the ones that I replaced these tomato plants with. This year we've had such an amazing tomato harvest, and these San Marzanos are gonna go on and make it even better. But the reveal and the comparison that we've been waiting for, these indeterminate tomato cuttings, these sun gold tomato cuttings that we took, they look like fully mature tomato plants. They've got tons of flowers, they've got fruit forming, and it's just amazing to see how happy these tomato plants are. We took cuttings off of these plants only 6 weeks ago, and they have since formed into these fully mature tomato plants that look like they were just planted in the ground from seed, have grown, and are producing fruit. They've got tons of their own suckers, their main branches are strong, they're completely filling out these tomato cages, and to me this is 100% a viable method of creating more tomato plants and getting even more fruit absolutely free. On the other hand, and they're not doing bad, they actually look really good, but our determinate tomato plants, our Supremo tomato cuttings, over the last 4 weeks, it looks like they've just completely stalled. They haven't really grown any larger or branched out or became more bushy. All they've done is produce these few flowers, which will go on to produce some fruit, but we're not gonna be getting dozens of pounds of tomatoes off of these plants like we would a tomato plant that we planted from seed. Even though this method is so successful for our indeterminate tomato plants, it's just not a viable or productive option for our determinate tomatoes. Well, that's going to be it for this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it and got something out of our little experiment that we did here. To me, it's actually really exciting to see the whole process from taking a tomato cutting off of one of our tomatoes that are still growing in the garden and successfully rooting it, planting it in the garden, and watching it grow, fully mature, and start to produce fruit in a relatively short period of time. To me, it gets a 10 out of 10. This may be one of the best ways to grow tomatoes. So not only were we able to grow a viable and productive tomato plant from a tomato cutting, but we also grew it many times faster than growing a tomato plant from seed. Our tomato plants in the garden, they're still growing. They've yet to produce fruit. They've probably got another 6 weeks before they actually start getting into production. Whereas within 6 weeks of taking our tomato cutting, we have a fully matured tomato plant that is full of flowers, has fruit forming, and we're gonna be able to enjoy fruit off of this tomato plant all the way up to the end of our season. I really hope you enjoyed coming along with me on this experiment, and if you did, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and continue to see our awesome videos to help grow the gardener in you. Again, my name is Phil from Earth, Nails, and Tails, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.